Okay, let's get started. Welcome everyone to this TradeStation webinar. The focus today is going to be the TradeStation mobile app. So let me go ahead and get some introductions out of the way and some disclosures as well. The title today is Improved Options Management on TradeStation Mobile. So we are going to have a big focus on all the new functionality that has been added to the TradeStation mobile app and how options traders can do pretty much anything they want to do on the mobile app in terms of analyzing the markets, searching for trading opportunities, and then placing those trades right in the palms of their hands. Not only that, but have the ability to go in there and manage your orders and manage positions. So let's go ahead and take a look at everything. The process from ideation to placement, execution, and management. My name is Jesus Nava. I'm the Director of Client Training and Education. For those that don't know me, I've been with TradeStation for over 25 years, and it's been a great experience. And for me, it's a pleasure to be here and spend time with you, showing you the TradeStation technology and showing you some of the nice things that have been implemented there. For disclosures, just keep in mind that every symbol and idea that I talk about is for educational purposes only. These are not recommendations of TradeStation. Also, active trading is not suitable for everyone, and past historical performance is no guarantee of future results. So, thank you everyone for being here. Let me go ahead and switch over to a blank slide, and I'm going to switch over to my mobile app. Let's go ahead and talk about the mobile app. This is the iOS version of the mobile app. We have two versions, Android and iOS. They're both very similar. So, I'm just going to focus on the mobile app, on the iOS version of the mobile app. And if you're an Android user, you can follow along on your Android because they should look very similar. First question that I see here in the chat, and I'll take this opportunity to take it. How do I switch to simulated account? When you log in to the mobile app, it takes you to your account positions, accounts, orders, and account balances. In fact, you can see the three tabs right here at the very top. If you wanted to do anything on the apps in terms of changing settings or switching from a simulated account to a live account, you come down here and go to more. So once you tap on more, there you have the switch or the switcher. You can switch from sim to live. It makes it very easy. And while we're here, let me just point out that from the more section, you can transfer funds, you can set price alerts, you can go into settings like default settings for your order entry, or you can access support contact information. So there's a lot of information here in settings, and what I would recommend you do is explore. Just go in there and tap on every single one of these and see what's available, okay? Let me go back to the home screen, and the home screen is identified at the bottom of my mobile app with the TradeStation logo. So right there at the bottom, I just tap there and it takes me to my home screen. As I said before, the home screen is a place where you're going to take a look at your open positions, any orders that are active, and also your balances. But before we get to managing positions and orders, let's talk a little bit about what other tools are available for you to find trading opportunities, trading ideas, things that are moving, and maybe ways in which you can find that next trading candidate that you're looking for. First of all, you see the watch list right there at the bottom left. So you do have the ability to set up your own watch lists. Right now, I'm looking at my positions watch list, but I can tap there and go to my own personal watch list, where's the place that I add any symbol that I'm tracking. Maybe I just want to know how it's doing. I just want to keep an eye on it. And once I'm ready to trade it, I know that it's already here. So it's just easier for me just to tap on it and then put on a trade rather than having to search for it and add it. I just have it here ready. For example, let's say that I wanted to place a trade on AT&T, but not yet. I just want to keep an eye on it. Right here at the top of my mobile app, I have a plus allowing me to add symbols. I type in A for AT&T, and this has a very robust search engine that you can type in the security or the ticker symbol or the name of the corporation. It'll search by both, and that way you can just find symbols a lot quicker. AT&T is very simple. You just type in the T, and that's the ticker symbol for AT&T. And I'm just going to tap on this plus on the right-hand side, and a check will appear letting me know that it's ready to add. I'm just going to tap on done right there on the top right corner, and it adds the symbol to my screen. All right. And by the way, to Talia's comment right there that she's mostly using the web platform, because we do have different platforms from which you can trade. We have the web trading platform, we have the desktop, which is our flagship product, the one that has all the bells and whistles, and then we have the mobile app. In terms of which one is best, I guess it all depends on where you are, what is it that you're doing, and what is it you're trying to do. A lot of times, if you're sitting in front of your computer, your PC, I would rather have a big screen with my TradeStation desktop open, and that's where I'm doing most of my analysis. But if I'm on the road, I may have a day job, or I may just be grocery shopping, or I just may go on vacation, on travel. My phone is important to me because it gives me the flexibility of acting on ideas and managing my account on the go. So it is a great complement to everything you're doing in terms of trading your TradeStation account. So don't underestimate the power of accessing your TradeStation account from within the palms of your hand. Okay, so we added AT&T, something that we wanted to trade, and by just tapping on the AT&T, this will take me to what's called a symbol detail. Now, the symbol detail is broken into 5 different views, and you find them right here in the middle of the screen. One of those views is options. We're going to get to options in just a moment, but I can look at an overview, I can look at a chart, at news, options, and even go into a matrix. A couple more things. We have this chart view that has buttons down here. I'm looking at a 1 day worth of activity, and we can see that AT&T has been up since the opening of today. It's been up 1.73%, as you can see right here at the top. I can go to a higher time frame by just tapping on the buttons here. This is the weekly movement of AT&T. If I tap on the 1M, this is the monthly movement. And the 3 months, this is a 3-month movement of TNT. Longer term, it doesn't seem TNT is developing into an upper trend. Today's movement, we can see that AT&T is up. A couple things that also help me see where the security is in relationship to where it's been in the past. We've added this bar right here at the top that gives you, right now I see the 52-week range. The green part here tells me where the 52-week range started and where the 52-week ended. And it tells me where the current price is. So in relationship to where the price has been in the past 52 weeks, we've worked right here in the middle. But if we click on the little sliders on either side of that label, we can go to a different range. This is today's range, and this is the weekly range. Very quickly, I'm able to tell where the current price is in relationship to that range. In addition to that, everyone has this little button on the right-hand side. Sometimes these buttons expand to give you a lot more information about the security, and I think it's very useful for us to know all the details behind a particular security that we're interested in trading. So if I tap on that button, I can see information on AT&T. Important information such as when is the next earnings date? January seems to be the next earnings date for AT&T. It also gives you the dividend date and additional information, fundamental information that is interesting to look at if you're trying to do a more of a quantitative analysis where you're bringing in technical ideas with fundamental ideas and try to base a decision on all those components. So let me go ahead and tap on that little button again. And if I move my finger towards the top, it provides me a little bit more information. There's a section here called Why is it moving? It does provide you also a buy, sell, or hold kind of indicator. Again, this is information provided by Benzinga and is not intended to be a recommendation. But after that, of course, you have the AT&T's earnings calendar, and it gives you information about AT&T. I think this overview tab on any security that you pull up in the mobile app is excellent. Perfect. So let's go over here to the chart. All right, this is AT&T. The chart is very flexible. I can use my pinch and zoom gesture on my fingers to expand the view. This is a daily bar chart. There is an indicator or a technical indicator already added here. Let me go ahead and remove it. All I need to do is tap on the pill right there. and then press delete right here at the bottom of the view. I just want to clear a chart. And in addition to that, my chart is showing trading activity. TradeStation always connects your charting application to your trading activity so that you see your orders in context. And it's important for me to look at a chart because if I want to trade options on AT&T, I can see where the price has been historically to be able to set some targets and stops, or if it's a spread, I want to use some support and resistance in order to set those prices correctly. Now, AT&T is a stock that is trading at 25.64. Let's say that we wanted to place a trade. I'm going to do separate trades. We'll do a stock trade, then we'll do an option to protect our stock trade and see how we can manage that trade in the positions tab. Let me go back here just to make sure that I don't have a position on AT&T. I'm going to go back here to my home menu, look at my positions, and I do have shares of AT&T and I do have a put. But let's go ahead and pick something else. Let me go to markets. And this is a great view because it provides you hot lists, percent gainers, percent losers, if that's what you want to trade. But there's a big section on why is it moving, and we have securities that are moving significantly. And Benzinga, again, is the provider of this information, and it tells you the reasons why they're moving. You can look at the sectors and see that healthcare is doing pretty well compared to other sectors, only followed by materials and financials. But on the negative side, you can see that the sectors that are not doing so well are real estate and non-essential goods. I'm going to scroll down and see that you also have access to news and you have analysts rating. One thing that stood out to me is that when I was looking at the sectors, I saw that healthcare was doing pretty well compared to other sectors. And when I came down here, on their analyst ratings, I saw that CVS was a security that is included in Benzinga's top buys. So what I did from here is I tapped on CVS and it takes me exactly to the symbol detail. And I'm looking at information on CVS. And if I go back to the overview, which I was looking at for AT&T, I can see some of the information of why CVS is moving as it is. Now, one thing that I want to do is trade CVS, and let's go ahead and put in a simple trade of 100 shares. I can do it very quickly from this view by tapping on trade at the bottom. You see that big blue button at the bottom that says trade, or I can use the bid and ask buttons up here. If I want to buy, I probably need to tap on the asking price and it automatically populates the order ticket for me with a buying transaction limit order at the price that the ask was at when I tapped on it, 81.44. Of course, I can change that using the bid and ask buttons here. I can switch this to a market order, which I'm going to do right now just for demonstration. I just want to get into a position of CVS. I'm going to review the buy order and send the order right now. Okay, so now let me go back and check my positions. I'm going to go click on the back button up here. Then I'm going to click down here on the home button. Sometimes I say click, but it's actually a tap. But you get where I'm going, right? On the phone, you tap. On the computer, you click. But if I say click, it's a tap. So here we see the position for CVS right up here, long 100. Now, if I wanted to protect this 100 share position, if I look over here, what is the market value of this position? The market value, I see it right here, is $8,148. That's how much it cost me to get into this trade. And let's say that I want to put in a put to protect my trade. I bought the shares, the fill price. Let me go ahead and check the fill price. I'm going to go to the orders view, filter this by filled, and I see that my CVS shares were filled at 81.55. So maybe I'm going to set a put at 82. So I do have that protective put in case the price continues to drop. I have a right to sell them at 82. So let me go over here to the options of CVS. I can do that by, let me go back. Let me go here to my positions. I'm going to tap on CVS. And right here from the bottom pops up this menu, allow me different actions on CVS. I can buy, sell, close at market. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at options. So I'm going to tap on that options button and it takes me right here. In terms of how long I want to keep this CVS position, I look at the expirations row right here. The one that is highlighted is November 14th. Now, today is November 12th. So that doesn't give me a lot of time to hold my CVS shares. If my intention is to hold my shares maybe a couple or a few weeks, I need to look for a put that protects me during that period. And I can look into the expirations here and decide which one is it that I want to take a look at. Interestingly, the next expiration over November 21st is a monthly expiration and is an expiration where earnings are released in this grouping. It's not the specific date, but if I go to this expiration, earnings are released during that time. We can check the date a little bit later, but it's interesting that we are very close to CVS releasing earnings and they may have an impact on the price of its shares. So let me go ahead and use my finger because I'm going to give myself 30 days here. I'm going to trade the monthly expiration for December. You can see that there's a little M next to the expiration, tells you that those are the monthly expirations, usually have more volume. And I want you to get into a habit, if it's a security that you're not really familiar with, to use your finger and cycle through the different columns right here on the option chain. There are a couple columns that are open interest and volume. So I see open interest right there. Everybody sees it. And here's volume. This is today's volume. How many contracts have been traded today? Volume is important, especially on a not so familiar stock. Let's call it that way, because it could mean getting stuck in a position that you don't want to be in because there's no other side to take your trade. If you're buying, there's not a seller. And if you're selling, there's no buyer. So you want to make sure that there's liquidity so that when it's time to get out of a trade, there's enough trading activity for that to happen. In my monthly views, I also see this yellow line, which is my in the money separator. Very useful because I see which options are in the money and which ones are not. And let me go and use my fingers just to go back to the prices. So the focus is here in bid and ask pricing. And I did say that my fill price was 81 and change. Don't remember what my fill price was at the moment. It does say that my position information is right here, and I have no orders or no active orders to sell or manage that order, which is fine. I'm going to manage my position with a put. And I bought 100 shares. I think it was 81.30 something. I said that I was going to buy a put at 82. So I'm going to look at, there's not a strike at 82 precisely. There's one at 82.50, which is fine. And if I look on the put side, that put is being sold for at 355. If I tap right there, it highlights it in blue. So I have a great visual. I see the information at the bottom. So I see, and I have the ability to chart it or trade it. I'm going to go here to trade. I'm just going to buy one put because that's all I have in terms of shares. I have 100 shares, so I need a protective put. I'm just going to do it on market just for simplicity, not because I favor market orders, just for demonstration. I don't want any lingering orders unless, I'm showing you how to manage that order. Yes, but for now, I just want to get the order filled. And there we go. If I want to check my positions, if I want to see where my put is, I have to go back to the home menu. So I'm going to come up here to this little caret and go back and then come down here to my positions. And I can see my CVS symbol category. And inside of CVS, I see my 100 shares long and I see my put. Interesting. And notice that automatically my positions are organized by symbol. Now, in this particular case, I legged into this options position. This is a married put. But as of now, my positions view doesn't recognize it as that because that's not how I entered it. Now, I'm going to show you this is new functionality here in the positions view, which is a grouping functionality, which is this button. And I'm just going to tap it so you can see all the different options that are here. My view right now is order based. And since it's order based, I see my shares separately and I see my put separately because I place them separately. But if I wanted to do a margin based view, the way that TradeStation calculates margin and how you're using margin in your account, then I can select a margin based view, which puts my two positions into one. Notice how it automatically identifies that as a married put. So I can tap on the little caret to expand, and I still see the shares and I still see the put, but now I'm seeing how TradeStation sees my two positions. Even though I traded them separately. They interact with each other and they affect my margin differently. There are a couple of columns inside the position view that help you view margin and how it affects your buying power. I'm just going to use my finger to cycle through the columns over here and get to a column that's called, there we go, margin estimate and buying power impact, because those two columns are going to decide how all these different positions are going to be grouped in the back end and directly affect how much margin is available and how much purchasing power is available. So notice how interesting that I was able to trade these separately, but if I do a margin view, they are grouped immediately as a married put. So that's new feature added right here on the top, allowing you to switch your view from order based to margin based. If I go to ungrouped, it's just not going to respect any orders that I have placed. Like in this case, if I go open CVS, uh-oh, there we go. It's just not going to be grouped into any spreads that I have placed. Let me go here and do margin based. Now it groups them. Same thing with the HD. These two puts that I traded them separately, but when I switch my view to margin based, then it actually groups them together because that's how they're seen in TradeStation's background in order to calculate your margin and your buying power. Let me go ahead and set up a spread so that we can see something different. Okay, let me go ahead and switch my symbol here. All right, let me get rid of this. Oh, by the way, if you tap on the little eye here, it gives you a little bit more information as to how it manages the groups and what it does when you select order-based or margin-based. So this is always good to remember. If you are not sure, we know what each one of those groups does, just tap on the little eye and it provides you a little bit more information. Let me see if I have any open positions here. I have Disney shares. Okay, let me go back here to my markets. All right. I'm going to scroll down. Earlier, I saw MasterCard. I tapped on it. I saw that the price of MasterCard is $563. Let's suppose that we want to put in a trade for MasterCard, thinking that the price is going to go up. Let's do a bullish example. We are bullish MasterCard, but rather than invest or put our capital into a share position, we are going to trade a spread. If I had to trade 100 shares of MasterCard, that would be a position worth $56,000 based on the price of MasterCard. Now, I'm going to go into options and put in that trade in the form of a spread. Now, again, I'm going to select a different expiration based on holding period. Let's say that we're going to give ourselves a little bit more time and not have a position that gets affected by time decay so quickly. And I'm just going to go into the December monthly options. Right there, we talked about the little M. That loads the options for MasterCard. Let's say that we want to trade an in the money call. And if you wanted to switch or do a multiple selection right here within the option chain, you have to select custom in the spread selector. This is the spread selector. If I tap there, you'll get all different options that will automatically arrange your strikes into a spread. Since I want to have full control over which legs I'm selecting, I choose custom, and this gives me the flexibility of just tapping on the legs that I want. So let's say in this example, I want to buy this 560 call, which is an in the money call, and I want to pair that up with a short call with a 570 strike price, which is going to cap my profit, but at the same time, it's a measured trade where you have a measured risk and a measured reward. So if I tap on that call, I'm going to be paying 1,835 for that call, and I'm going to be receiving 1,215 for selling the other call. And it's going to net out to an amount. Now, the two calls are added here to my trade ticket. I'm just going to tap on trade. By the way, very soon, TradeStation will give you more advanced functionality. In fact, we are very close to releasing a new version of the mobile app that will give you more analysis into the risk reward profile of any option spread. But in this case, the order ticket gives you full flexibility on the legs that you're trading. You see them right here in the order ticket. If I tap on any of them, it opens into a view where I can change the action, the ratio, the expiration, the strike, or the type. I'm just gonna leave it the way it is. And you can see that right here at the bottom, the cost of the trade, it's about $532. If I tap on review the order, and I'm just gonna, actually, before I do the confirmation, let me go back in here and change it to market. In fact, let's do limits, and I'll change you how you can manage that order and change it. I'm gonna do the mid price of $5.30, which is the price that's in there already. Let's review it, send it, and okay. So we're back on the detail view. If I go back using the caret right here at the top, and I go back to my positions view, of course, I'm not going to see masterclass here yet because it's an order that hasn't been filled. But let's go here in the orders tab and look at my pending order. I have all these orders available, but I'm just going to go here into the category or the status of the order and switch it to open because I should have just one open order. Here I have my order. Let's tap it. I can see the two legs. If I go here, if I tap on the actual order, it allows me to go here into actions. Actions is that blue button that I tapped on, and I'm going to replace the order. I'm going to tap on replace order. I'm going to change the order to market. Then I'm going to tap on replace order and tap on that send order button at the bottom. Tap on OK, and I get a filled confirmation. So now let me go back. Let me go back to my positions. And there it is. That's my MasterCard call vertical. And I placed it as a vertical. By the way, there's a couple of indicators here that I'm going to go through. For example, there's a yellow diamond that is showing next to not every position, but some of my positions. That yellow diamond just means that I have calls or puts that are in the money. So for the call vertical, I have options that are in the money. If I want to know which one, I just tap on the little caret and I can see the call that I bought is in the money. Not the other one, but one of the calls is in the money. So anytime that you expand a view, that yellow diamond will actually tell you which legs are in the money, which is a great visual if you want to take action on any of those legs that are in the money. For my vertical right here, I don't have any other indicators, but if you look up here in my Home Depot, there is a little purple type of calendar indicator. That's just an indicator that there is an event coming up for Home Depot, specifically an earnings event. I believe earnings are purple and dividends are yellow. So that little icon that looks like a calendar is just an indication that your security is about to have an event within 7 days. So that's a 7-day range. Something will happen to that security based on the events calendar. So yeah, a lot of information right here in the positions view. Now let's go ahead and take a look at my MasterCard call vertical. It's showing us a call vertical because my grouping up here is based on, in this case, margin based. If I switch it to order based, I won't see a change because I traded it as a vertical. I'm going to tap on order based. So when it's order based, it's just going to look at how you placed the order and show it you exactly how it came back. We traded a call vertical. And if I tap over here, this is a call vertical. That's how we traded it. Margin wise, if I go back here to my groupings and I select margin, TradeStation also sees it as a vertical. If I were to trade other MasterCard components, if I were to introduce shares, or if I were to introduce other option spreads, then things may change. But if I tap on ungrouped, the ungrouped view, notice what happens here to MasterCard. It doesn't say vertical anymore because it's just showing you all the legs that are available under that security, MasterCard. By the way, in this grouping menu, there's other viewing buttons. These are quick expanding buttons. If you go to account view, it just shows you the accounts that are connected to your TradeStation login. So you may have multiple accounts. They'll all show here. And you'll see your positions organized by account. If I come up here and I say, I want to see my view on security view. If you do security view, it'll be done by symbol. So now I see MasterCard in here. It doesn't expand MasterCard because it says I just wanted to see the security. If I go back in there into the groupings and I select strategy view, then it goes into the options. And for MasterCard, I see the call vertical. Now, if I had, let me go up here to the grouping and I want to do order based and strategy view. If I do order based and strategy view, I only see the strategies that at the strategy level. So notice that it doesn't expand the call vertical, and I don't see the individual legs. I see the vertical as a whole position. Let me go ahead and do an iron condor on MasterCard and see how it affects the margin view. I'm going to go back here. I can just tap on the master. I don't have any MasterCard shares, but I can go here to trade. I can type in MasterCard. There it is, MA. If I wanted to do a quick iron condor, I can just go here to the spread selector. I'm going to tap on iron condor. It organizes my strikes based on my selection. And I'm just going to trade this one right here, the 560, 570, 580, 590. And I'm going to do it here on this side, which doesn't matter because it's exactly the same prices. It's a combination of puts and calls. I'm going to trade it. I'm going to do a market order. And I'm just going to click OK here. And there we go. So we should have an open position. Let me go ahead and tap on back. Let me go and go to the home menu. So I have my December two legs. Everybody remembers when I traded those two. And then I have my January iron condor. Notice that it's listed or it's shown as individual legs because I went to my grouping menu right here at the top and I have it on. If I do order based, then it'll organize my positions and I can see my call vertical and I see my iron condor organized by the actual strategy, the way that I enter them. I traded a vertical and iron condor, and that's the way that I see them. If I want to see them as margin, notice that I have my two positions in there. Okay, so it does provide traders a great way to look at their positions differently. Whether you want to see a flat view and see just individual legs, whether you want to see your positions organized by strategy or organized by margin and how each position is affecting your margin bottom line. If I go here and switch this to grid, when you are in grid view, yes, you don't see the grouping options because this is just a simplified view of your positions. Thank you so much for that, Darian. So it won't show you all the additional functionality. So you have to tap on that grid button right there on the top right to switch to a table view, and that's where the grouping option applies. Thank you for that, Darren. I'm sure that a lot of people, when they go to their positions, they see the simplified grid because I think that was the default many times, many months ago, but now we have this table view. So if you don't see the grouping option, make sure that you tap on that button and switch your view. So that's my presentation for today. But just to recap, the process of ideation, looking at what the markets are doing, identifying trading opportunities, adding that security to the watch lists, being able to tap on the security and go into the detail view, leverage the information that we're getting from Benzinga in terms of is this a good buy? Is this a good sell? Why is it moving? Checking the news on that security right there on the same view. And then switching or deciding whether to trade the shares outright or go into the options and trade some spreads. If you're bullish or moderately bullish and you want to do a vertical spread, maybe it's a great opportunity. You can go in there, tap on your legs, submit your trade. But the best thing is to be able to manage those positions in the way that I just showed you by groupings, organizing your legs under each security, separated by accounts, and seeing the order as you entered it. So if you traded a vertical, it automatically shoots out a vertical and you can see your vertical on your positions view. Now everything is the same from the very beginning to the very end. If you trade an iron condor, you see an iron condor if you are on the strategy view or the order-based view. Let's just make that very clear. You have the order-based view, which is the way that you traded them, The margin based is just the way that TradeStation calculates margin. And sometimes it's going to break your strategies apart because it finds a better way to manage your margin in the back end. But again, if you want to see how the strategies, how you traded them, you have to go the order-based view, and that's it just simplifies the method of trading by seeing your strategies from beginning to end in the same way that you are trading them. All right. The other buttons down here we talked about, these are just viewing buttons to let you expand and contract the list of positions based on each one of those options: account view, security view, strategy view, or leg view. But guys and gals, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that the mobile app is something that you can start using and experiment. As I said at the very beginning, you don't have to do live trades, you can do simulated trades, but it's a way for you to get familiar with the application and have that flexibility that when you don't have your computer in front of you, you can just grab your phone, go into your TradeStation account, and not only find trading opportunities, but place those options trades and manage them on the fly. Thank you guys for being here. Have a wonderful afternoon, and I hope to see you in one of my future classes. Great having you. Bye bye.